Welcome to Barbatus Catholic Podcast, the show where three Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. We are your hosts,
Gustavo,
Ivan,
and Walter. And today, we are going to talk about the third pillar of Lent, Almsgiving. But first, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor for this episode is Don Taco Mobile Taco Stand. If you're looking for the best tacos in the valley, look no further. Let Don Taco cater your next event, whether it's a birthday party, quinceañera, or a wedding. They will bring to you the tastiest tacos made with the freshest of ingredients. Book them today. Go to dontacocatering.com to learn more. You can also follow them on Instagram at dontacomts. And now, to the show. So, we're talking about this book that Gustavo has been reading. What was the name of it again?
Secret Fire.
Secret Fire. And it's about Tolkien, right?
It's about, the spirituality of J.R.R. Tolkien,
which is the GOAT.
which is the GOAT.
Just the goat.
Mm-hmm.
Which, before I started Exodus 90, one of the last things that I did the Sunday before it started was watching Lord of the Rings.
Which one, though?
The Two Towers.
Helm's Deep.
What?
Deep.
The Battle of Helm's Deep, man.
The Battle of Helm's Deep.
It's such a
It's
good
really
scene.
good. Is that your favorite?
Return of the King is my favorite.
I haven't watched Return of the King.
What?
I
Wait,
haven't watched Return of the King.
like
So this is
this year?
No, like, I mean, I'm not a big Tolkien nerd like you two.
This is just...
Oh,
Listen,
This is going to turn into the Welcome to Barbatus Catholic Podcast with Gustavo and Ivan.
yeah.
Okay. No, when I was in college, I was watching Fellowship of the Ring, and I was really bothered by the fact that at the end of the movie, they were not there yet, not even close, and I was like, really? This movie is just about people going someplace, and you just get like not even to the middle of the way.
But dude, it's so much more than that.
I know.
It's that whole... Have you ever read the books?
What?
Have you read the books?
I have read The Fellowship of the Ring. I have the Two Towers in Audible.
I mean, there you go. Start there. But dude, it's like the journey itself. Like yes, the first movie does end. They don't get to Mordor, not yet, but it gets better. Your homework after this podcast, you have to go watch Return of the King.
Maybe on Sunday, I will relax watching a movie instead of eating sweets.
I'm going to text you and remind you.
Perfect.
Yeah, Secret Fire is you're gonna love that book, Ivan. That it's by Stratford Caldecott. But it's just like the way Tolkien and his Catholicism kind of like is all over the story that we know and love, right? In the book, in the movie, and you get a bunch of references that while reading this book, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. Oh man. Right? Like I'll just give one tidbit. I won't give the whole thing away.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about like the quote that you sent us.
Yeah, so about the Eucharist. Yeah, so Tolkien was like completely devout to the Blessed Sacrament, and he pretty much followed his faith while writing the book, right? So he injected his Catholic faith into the book. And one of the things that really caught me is that when they finally destroy the ring, like at the end of the book,
spoiler alert.
Yeah. At the end of the book, they say that the ring was destroyed on March 23rd or 25th. I'm going to butcher it.
March 25th is the conception of the Lord.
Exactly.
9 months before Christmas.
Exactly. That's the date that Tolkien gives when the ring was destroyed. essentially
incarnation.
The incarnation.
That's so badass.
Oh my gosh, there's like so many of those. You won't believe it. When you read this book, you're gonna like fall in love all over again. With Tolkien.
It kind of reminds me of the philosophy of Tolkien by Peter Kreeft. I don't know if you've read that.
I haven't read that.
Kreeft. I don't know how you say his last name.
Kreeft, I think it is.
Doctor.
But it's very. It kind of reminds me of that. Right now, I'm reading the letters of Tolkien that he wrote.
Yeah, so this author, Stratford Caldecott, references the letters so much in this book. Oh, so it's, for me, it was like a little hard read when I was first getting into it, because they talk a lot about poetry in the first chapter, and it kind of like lost me a little bit. But once you start getting into the references that you recognize from the books or the movie, it's smooth sailing. Again, it's such a good book that I highly recommend it for any Lord of the Rings, Tolkien fans at large. You need to read that book.
On it. You too, Walter.
Nice. After I watch Return of the King.
Yes.
We forgive you, by the way.
Okay, yeah, we do.
Yeah. I mean, I got late into the Tolkien game, to be honest with you. Okay, so riddle me this. The Hobbit was a children's story, right?
It was. That's the first book he wrote. It was meant to be a children's book. And then he intended The Lord of the Rings to be a children's book as well. A follow-up to that. Okay. But as he was writing it, I think he kept going back and forth. And his publisher kept asking, like, what's going to be the theme and things. And he decided to make it
like an epic novel. Man, we need more of that these days.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
How can you connect Almsgiving with Lord of the Rings?
Oh, man.
How the elves give the bread to the hobbits so they can eat.
It's not just any bread. It's called Lembas bread.
And there's, again, another reference.
Lembas.
I've actually made it before. It's delicious.
Wait, you have cooked it?
I have.
Well, now I need to make it.
Dude, you're Walter the baker. You have to make lembas bread.
Okay.
If you want to give me like a good present, make me some lembas bread.
Okay.
Yeah. The lembas bread is like you said, the elves give it to the fellowship. It's this bread that if you eat like a little morsel of it, it'll keep you full for hours. So, thinking back to when Gustavo had the Eucharist and it filled him all day.
See? If you listen to our previous episode,
and then again,
can catch the reference.
The book Secret Fire gets into a whole lot of detail. There's like, again, so many
I gotta read this book.
Good morsels about how he connects Catholicism with the story.
Okay, so speaking of good morsels, that's a really good segue. Thank you, guys. So I think we can start this episode with our own personal experiences giving to the poor, because that is pretty much almsgiving, what we're talking about today. And Ivan, I think you were there. There was one time that we went to First Friday Adoration at the Diocesan Center in downtown Phoenix. You might have been there. I don't know. But there was a whole bunch of young adults. And we went to Holy Hour. And then after that, we went to... do you remember the name of the pub in Heritage Square? Like something with Rose.
Oh, man.
It's no longer there. R.I.P. But they had like picnic tables outside.
Yeah.
And
I know
was
which
like
one you're talking about.
Anyways.
It's no longer there?
I don't think it's there.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, like it's something different. Anyways. That was like the first time that I had like a close encounter with a homeless person. Like he sat down with us, and I have one of those faces where like people feel comfortable telling their life stories to me for some reason. So everybody was hanging out, and then I'm here. I don't even remember the name of the gentleman, but he was just telling me his life story about how he became homeless, really, and how he still has a daughter, and he was hoping to reconnect with her, and he has a cell phone and all these things. And I was just like listening to him, and I didn't know how to react, but I had just come from adoration, so I was like, yeah, like I see Jesus's face in his face, and trying to be charitable and kind, and not be like
dismissive.
Yeah, like I'm trying to drink a beer with my friends. Don't you see, Mr. Homeless Man? Can you please not? So just listening, I think that brought comfort to the men or something. I didn't even buy him a meal. It was like someone else was like, hey, I'll buy you a burger and fries, and then he sat down and ate his burger and fries with us.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah, I do. I think Zach bought him the food.
Really?
I think so.
It might have been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. It was Gino's son. What's his name? From our God spot. You remember Gino from St. Joan of Arc? Gino Davi.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sal Davi?
Yeah, Sal Davi. Yeah. I think Sal Davi was the one that got him the meal. But
okay.
Regardless of who it was like, that is like the closest that I have been to like interacting with someone who's like physically poor. I've never been on like mission trips or apostolates with homeless people or the like, so that has really impacted me. I don't know if any of you two have any experiences that you can share, or how did you see that from your angle?
No, I do remember you talking to this gentleman, and I mean, I don't think I talked to him, but I do remember seeing you talk to him, and I do remember somebody, whether it was Zach or Sal, they did buy him a meal, and he looked at, even for those few minutes talking to you and then just eating his meal and having a meal, you could tell it was pretty epic for him.
Just being seen.
Yeah. This is one of those things where, like when you talk about almsgiving, when you talk about like, your encounter, like how did you give back and things like that. To me, it's one of those things where, I don't know, sometimes I don't like to talk about it. And the reason I don't like to talk about it is because, like, I don't want to be like, well, look at me. Mm-hmm. I fed a homeless guy today.
Yeah. Don't let your right hand down.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So, but I do remember this interaction that I had with somebody. I remember I was working at St. Joan of Arc, and it was after youth group. And I went to Panda Express at the end because I was super hungry. I didn't really eat very well. And I went to Panda Express, and I was there, and I was about to walk in, and this guy on a skateboard, I didn't think he was homeless or anything, but he just came up to me. He's like, hey man, do you have like $1 or something? Like I'm trying to, get on this bus so I can go home and this and that. And then, at the time, like I was super hungry, and I just wanted to get my food. I just kind of dismissed him, like, no, I don't have anything. And then he kind of just like went away and like sat on the floor again. And he didn't have anything on him, like a backpack, nothing. It was just him and a skateboard. So when I walked inside Panda, and then I thought, I'm like, man, like, why did I just dismiss him like that? So I came back out and I talked to him. I said, like, hey, have you eaten today? And he's like, no, I haven't had anything. He's like, can I buy you a meal? And he was like, yeah. You can see like his face just just lit up. And he, like, I walked inside and I asked him, like, like, what's your name? And I don't remember his name, to be honest, but I still remember what he looks like. But you can just tell that he was super, super happy that somebody was talking to him. Mm-hmm. He probably was spending all day asking for $1 or whatever. But yeah, he told me that he was just trying to get home, that he lived somewhere close to Flagstaff, and he just didn't know how to get up there. And I don't know, he looked like maybe he was like in his early 20s. But yeah, I bought him his food, and he just grabbed his to-go box and he walked away, and that was it. But I mean, I still remember that interaction very well, where, you know, at the beginning I was very dismissive of, like, I don't have time for this. But at the, you know, when I really
can't you see that I'm very hungry?
Yeah, exactly. But when I think about it, I was like, man, like, my parents always taught me that, you know, when you see a homeless person, that's where you see Jesus, that's where you see God. And I don't know, I just really try to remember that. And even though it was something so simple as buying a meal,
I think I always go to food. Like, I would carry McDonald's gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It's like fast food, you know, $10 gift cards, and I would keep them in the car just in case that I would stop at a red light and there was someone with a sign or something. I think one year I did like the care packages for the homeless, where I would do like a pair of socks.
Yeah,
and
we've
like
done that.
some like personal hygiene articles, and instead of giving them money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because it, you know, at least in Mexico, it is, you know, this is gonna sound very bad, because I was having a conversation with Otto about this, and he said something that really struck me, is that I don't know how to translate it. Maybe you can help me. He said, "Te venden lástima."
Yeah, they sell you pity.
Yeah,
pity. Mm-hmm. That's the word that I didn't know how to translate. They sell you pity, and then, you know, it is up to you if you want to buy it or not. Because, you know, there's people in Mexico that's their livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
They just go and ask for money, and that's what they do instead of like getting a job. And
able-bodied men,
able-bodied,
right? I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about,
and sometimes not, but you know, sometimes you see like kids and older people and things like that. But I guess it's more than that, right? The Catechism of the Catholic Church 2462 says, giving alms to the poor is a witness to fraternal charity. It is also a work of justice, pleasing to God. And I think we're focusing a little too much on the homeless, but you know, you can do almsgiving. Well, yeah, but where are the poor right now? I guess it's like, where do we go to encounter them? I don't think we go out of our way. I would be the first to admit that I don't go out of my way to meet the poor. I'm like, okay, I donate to the church. I don't donate to this charity, and then they take care of
sure.
that, you know?
Correct. Yeah. Honestly, I think this is one of the pillars, because again, we're doing our series on Lent and Lenten practices, and one of the pillars, almsgiving, is the one where I struggle the most. And I think, I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I think everybody we've committed that act of looking the other way in more than one occasion, right? Whether because you're busy or you're in a hurry or you don't want to be bothered. I mean, I'll be honest, I've done all of them.
Or you don't know that, you know, they can be like unstable mentally and things like that,
especially when you're like with little kids and stuff like that. But and again, like you're hinting at, you know, it's not just about helping the less fortunate. But even with the church, right? I mean, I get into the Sunday collection, but I guess financially I don't support the church as much as I should, which is, again, I know it's going to a good cause. It's not that I don't do it because I don't think they're doing good with it. I know they are. It's, for me, it's just never top of mind. Mm-hmm. And again, that's my failing, right? I guess it's because it really doesn't affect me where it's out of frame of mind, which is pretty bad, right? Because as Catholics, we're called to be charitable, and like you just read, it's a witness to fraternal charity, and I fail on that constantly, right? But thankfully, my kids are like a constant reminder of that, because my daughter is so moved by the needy, right? In a way where it just makes me ashamed that I am not like where are you getting this if you're not getting it from me, right? But no, it's always been her that really pushes us to go out of our way and say, let's help that person. Let's help that person. And yeah, I mean, we did the care packages one day, and we went out, and she wanted to personally go out and give them to people and talk to them and tell them that God loves them. And it was just very heart melting, but at the same time made me feel pretty bad, because I'm not really walking the walk in that sense. And it's something that I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's also good to exteriorize it, because then you gotta really step up to the plate and push yourself, especially in Lent, when we're called to do this. And the other part that got me is it's also a work of justice, pleasing to God. And we always attribute justice to what the law system is about justice, right? But justice in the eyes of God is about giving each person their due. And all people deserve our attention and our love and our respect.
Yeah,
right?
And just honor the dignity of the other person.
The dignity, because they're a child of God. Their inherent dignity as somebody created in likeness of God. So that is, for me, a challenge, a struggle in where it's not frame of mind. I think, back to when I was a kid and stuff like that. It's something that I need to really focus on and consciously work towards as a Catholic.
Can I just say something? If you want advice on how to raise strong, badass, confident daughters, talk to Gustavo and his wife. Not even kidding.
I think he mostly talked to Carolina.
Yeah. She's the superhero.
No, honestly, Gustavo's daughters are absolutely amazing. So I'm not even surprised to hear that.
Well, we're very fortunate. I think we've I'm gonna get all puffy as a dad, right? I mean, you're super proud of your kids for everything that they are.
Sure.
And but yeah, it's been great to have her, you have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old teach you. And we've always instilled that in them, right?
Who is this?
Ana Lucia.
Ana Lucia?
Mm-hmm. And Frida too, but I think Ana Lucia has more of a, and she's the same way with animals. She always wants to rescue animals and stuff like that. So she has a big heart in that sense, right? But when she needs to lend a toy to her sister, then we have a problem. So they're like regular kids as well.
Have you guys ever seen the movie The Human Experience?
No.
Is that when the guys live on $1 a day? No.
Oh my gosh, man! You guys,
that's I'm sure there's another documentary.
It's a documentary. Hopefully, there's some listeners that have watched this movie. Look it up. The Human Experience it's gonna make you cry. It's beautiful. So it's these two brothers who, it's like different segments throughout the whole documentary. So the first part is they live on the streets of New York with other homeless people, just to see their experience. And
they sleep inside of a cardboard box.
Yep, they sleep inside of a cardboard box.
I have watched it.
They just talk to different homeless people, what their life has been like, how their life is now. They go to the soup kitchen with them and join them, and it's they live like homeless people for a week, and in the winter in New York City, so it's freezing cold outside. And then the next segment is they go to I think they call them the Lost Children of Peru. They go to Peru, and then they go to it's an orphanage that has there's a kid that has no arms and kind of struggles to walk, and they just help this school just interact with the kids and take them to their doctor's appointments, and it'll totally tug at your heart. It's beautiful. Then they go to Africa. They go to a leper colony. And dude, it's such a beautiful movie. Just like how, and the title says it all, the human experience, just how like we're human, like we're all brothers and sisters, and we're called to help each other out.
Yeah.
With whatever gifts and talents that the Lord gives us.
Sorry, finish your thought.
No, I was just my brother-in-law, he is watching it in school right now. I think they had a substitute teacher, and the teacher's like, "Oh, we're just gonna watch this movie." And he asked me, he's like, "Have you seen the human experience?" I said, "I have." And he's like, "Man, it's super cool." Like my brother-in-law, he's very like Gen Z and plays FIFA and Fortnite and things like that. He's super into soccer. But even he's watching this movie, and he was talking to me about when they go to Peru to the orphanage, and he was like, "Man, like that's like it really got to him. Like he understands it, he sees it." So I recommend, like, if you guys have never seen Human Experience, I recommend you guys give it a show it to your families. I'm serious.
He goes to JP too, right? The high school.
Yes, my brother-in-law. Yeah, he goes to John Paul II out in Avondale. So
nice. You said soup kitchen, so I remembered a story in the book. Thank God Ahead of Time, The Life and Spirituality of Solanus Casey. So he was in Detroit in the 1920s when the Great Depression happened, right? So there were a lot of people that were coming to the monastery asking not only for prayers but for food, and the friars would give the people that would ask for food from their own food. So they would give away their bread, to the point where Father Solanus started a soup kitchen. And there was one time that there was like, I don't know, let's say that there was like 100 men, and they ran out of food, and there was still like 100 men in line waiting for a meal. And Father Solanus goes to the main dining room and tells everybody, we ran out of food, but worry not. Let's pray on our Father that we may get some food for everybody that hasn't had a meal. So they finished the Our Father, and a truck rolls in with a baker that had sent like a truck full of food.
Oh my God.
for the soup kitchen. And I was
incredible.
Like, all right.
Amazing.
There's a story of Mother Teresa that's very similar to that. I think I'm going to butcher it, but it was something similar where Mother Teresa was praying in the chapel, and the sister comes in saying, like, we have no food for the kids. And Mother Teresa, like, very nonchalant, like, just pray to the Lord. And I think
somebody gave him some flour or something like that, like boatloads of flour, wasn't it?
No, I heard that there was somebody that knocked at the door, and they said, like, oh, there was something, and we have like a lot of meals left over. Do you guys want them?
Yeah.
And they're like, yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like, I
guess we'll take them.
Sure, exactly. So I don't exactly remember how it is, but it was something along those lines where, man, that's
oh, yeah.
The good Lord provides.
Yeah.
And trying to circle back a little bit to what Gustavo was saying about tithing, I think it is a good thing to give back to the church, basically because if we don't have churches and priests, the economy of grace is not balanced, and we want to support seminarians and priests, and especially those priests that are retired. So I'm not saying that I tithe 10%, but we are building up a plan to get to that point. And just consider it prayerfully. Consider that to make it a financial goal. I know that there's like a lot of things and needs in families that need to be taken care of, that it could be overlooked. But I can attest in my personal experience that the more I have paid attention to tithing first, we have not lacked anything that we need. So God provides. I'm just throwing that out there for anyone who's listening that is hesitant about it. Do it from your gross income, so you get the gross graces from it, not from your.
Oh my gosh!
That was Dave Ramsey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good, Dave Ramsey. Anyways, and we're talking about treasure in that portion of it, which is like our income, but we can also talk about talents, and giving our talents to the poor is not just about money. It's also our time, which is a resource that is not renewable, and it is something that we can give, and sometimes it's even more valuable than our monetary contributions. I'm saying that it's not important, but there are only so many hours in a day. That's how many minutes did you say?
1,440.
That's going to become a thing.
Exactly.
Anyways, but like, okay, this Lent, very actionable things that you can do. Like, okay, Gustavo, Ivan, Walther, I don't have money to give to the poor, and we know that a lot of people have had very difficult 2020. Reduction of hours, laid off, you name it. You have time. What can you do with your time? You can give time to your own parish and ask your priest. I'm pretty sure that there is going to be something that your priest is going to tell you that you can help with. If you just ask, they will most likely say, yes, I have something that you can help with. You can, if you have the means, you can donate to the Phoenix Diocese annual charity and development appeal. The CDA pretty much pools all the money, or the monies from the diocese, and then gives money away to several different entities. I went to the website. If you go to PHX, no, what is it? The website of the
I think it's DPHX.
DPHX.org. You can find it there. They even show you who the money went to. All the Catholic charities and all the different organisms that are receiving the money that you donate to. And you can also donate your time in treasure to organizations like St. Vincent de Paul, or First Way Pregnancy Center, or Women's Aid. Those are the three that popped out in my head.
Aid to Women, yes.
Aid to Women, thank you. So those are the kind of what other like time that you can give.
I mean, those are all great examples that you can do, but it could even be at your local church. Like you said, like talking to Father to see where you can help out. Just because being a youth minister, I would always look for good, solid core members. If you have a desire to help teens and grow in their faith, maybe consider being a core member at the local youth group at your local parish,
or bring dinner to your youth group.
Yeah, I mean, that's always something. You can do. What we used to do a lot at youth group is, pretty much every youth group does this. You go to a soup kitchen. There's a Andre House here in the Diocese of Phoenix. I don't know if it's part of the Diocese of Phoenix. I just know that there's a homeless shelter downtown called Andre House. but we used to take the youth group, and you know, after you do something like that, like you go to a soup kitchen, you help prepare the meals, you help serve the meals, like you get to meet different people, and at that, at every walks of life, and then at the end you clean up, but you just see the joy that that they have of eating a meal that they probably their only meal of the day. There's no way that you end that day being like, man, today sucked. Like you go through that and you just feel like there's this joy, like there's this peace that, like, man, I just did that. I could have been at home. I could have been
playing Destiny.
Exactly. I could have, been doing something, but I'm here and I'm doing something for someone other than myself. There's no way you feel like a complete crappy person after that.
Yeah.
Would you say that when you help others, you are also, it's not really for the others, like it's also, there's a benefit to us in being charitable. I guess, and today I was discussing that with Deanna, how we need to operate from love, not from fear, because I think that there are times where we don't give because we think it is a sum zero game. So if I give something to someone else, I am losing that forever. And the reality of things is God cannot be outdone in generosity. So Mother Teresa's words, give until it hurts.
Sure.
It put a little bit of hurt on it, and you will see the graces start flowing. And it says in the gospel, you will get a full measure, packed, filled to the brim. And that is, I mean, not to say that is a reason why you're going to give because of what you're going to receive, but because it is our duty as fraternal charity to others, and it's an act of justice, just trying to lead virtuous life, especially in these 40 days that we crank up the volume on those three things that we have been mentioning in the last few episodes. So that's kind of like the exhortation that we want to throw out to you who are listening. And if you could tell us, what have you done in the past? Send us a comment or an email. We would love to know. Maybe we can put that in future episodes or things like that. So I think we are at a good point where we can do final thoughts.
Yeah. For me, the other point of reference that I had to discern was, okay, talents. What talents do I have and how can I put them in the service of the church?
Yeah.
I'm a graphic designer, right? So I said, well, I'll just...
A very good one at that.
I'll just open that up and see how the Lord wants to work with that. So when I was part of TLI, the Tepeyac Leadership Initiative, I don't want to give away too much, but part of the end of the program is that you have to make a commitment of how you're going to use what you learned there to pretty much better our world, depending on what you are, right? If you're a lawyer, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're like a graphic designer or whatever. So that's what I did. I said, you know what? I can't like open like a nonprofit like some of you can, or I'm not like a lawyer or a doctor, but I can definitely help with making your efforts look better, right? I'm really good at branding. I'm really good at marketing and advertising. I can do those things for you. I can create a logo. I can create a website. I can do those things. And that kind of like flourished into several people needing those services. And I did it for free, right? I just opened it up. I said, this is what we're going to do. And I ended up doing a logo for St. Joan of Arc the same way. I just offered it to Father Klein at the time and said, you know what, Father, I think St. Joan of Arc needs a new logo.
And he was very grateful for that.
And that was you?
Yeah.
What?
With the 3 crowns and the sword.
I didn't know that was you.
So I just put it together and I sent it over as a proposal to him, and he really liked it, So I just gave it
what
away.
Does it mean? You have the crest, the coat of arms.
Yeah, the coat of arms of St. Joan of Arc. Yeah, which is like the 2 crowns and the
2
sword.
crowns.
And it ended up looking really good. I was proud of the work, and I was proud that I could offer that to our church. So sometimes it's little things like that, right? I mean, just work with what you have and
your freelance website.
GustavoEstrella.com or
Fun fact, he also made Don Taco's new logo.
That's right. And Barbatus Catholic Podcast. If you need a logo, GustavoEstrella.com. He's your guy.
So yeah, I mean, just offer that to the Lord and ask him, how he can use you and your talents, whatever that may be. And doors and opportunities are sure to open up. So that's another way I try to compensate for me really not doing what I was talking about earlier in the episode. And same thing, like you mentioned, First Wave Pregnancy Center, just volunteering,
donating
of
diapers.
Your time, giving of your time. If there's other men or other people that you can talk to, and that's also giving of yourself and of your time and of your knowledge and of your experiences that might help somebody that might really need it.
Yeah.
So St. Vincent de Paul, we're really good patrons. We're at St. Vincent de Paul pretty much every weekend.
You guys are masters at finding.
We really like there. Thrift shopping and like just finding nice treasures and books, especially. My wife is great at just locating those treasures. And yeah, I mean, so there's no lack of opportunity to practice almsgiving.
Seek and you will find.
Correct.
And give until it hurts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Barbatus Catholic Podcast, the show where 3 Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. If you liked the show, please consider subscribing to the podcast, sharing it on social media, leaving a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, and recommending it to your friends and family. And if you didn't like it, well, just keep it to yourself and let others make their own mistakes. You can follow us on Instagram at Barbatus Catholic Podcast. Send us an email at hello@barbatuscatholicpodcast.com. On the web, we are at www.barbatuscatholicpodcast.com, where you'll find the show notes for this episode and more. And, as always, blessed Solanus Casey,
pray for us.
Until the next time.